All right, and back for chapter 2. So, drill commands are in oral order. Command is two parts. Two-part command. Most are. There are a few combined commands. Fall in, at ease, rest. Just a few of them. They're all at the same high pitch and louder volume than that of the normal command of execution. So most have two parts. So you have the preparatory command and the command of execution. So first letter, in this pamphlet is first letter of preparatory command is capitalized and printed in boldface, squadron. Command of execution is all caps and boldface, attention. All right, so squadron, attention, hut, like so, roughly. It's been a fat minute since I've practiced command voice. Right, and then there's also some supplementary commands. Which are things that if we're going to do squadron level drill, which we'll do for the PIR and etc. Things that, well, actually, I'm the first flight commander in our squadron, so I wouldn't have to do continue the march or a lot of stand fast. But the other flights behind us will. But then squadron flight attention, so like the entire encampment, the encampment commander or whoever is, probably cadet encampment commander would call encampment, and then the squadron commanders would copy squadron, and then flight commanders would all copy flight over our right shoulder. And then on the command of execution of the highest person, so the cadet encampment commander would, do the attention. And then we intermediary leaders, as the squadron commander calls attention, they come to attention to call it, and they stay at attention. Flight commanders, we come to attention to call it, go over our right shoulder, and then come to attention. And then same thing with first salutes. So they're saying present, and then the squadron commander says present. They put up their salute. And then same for flight commanders. Unless they're going to have us do it differently, I'd have to find the exact, another one to write down. Whoop-de-doo. Exact reg. Let me see here. Reg that says put arm up after command of present for flight com, because I'm most used to squadron drill. All right. Yep. So, righty. So the command of execution follows the preparatory command, and the command of execution designates when the movement will be carried out. So, we're marching along, and they say, "Come left, hurch." That means we're gonna turn on the next foot. But if they say, "Come left, come left, hurch," then we go on that. So you don't want to anticipate the command. So if they're like, "Come left," and you go there, or calm left, you do the pivot there, that's wrong because the command of execution was not called on this foot. Alrighty. Upon hearing, and they start moving on the command of execution. And so when giving commands, you want to be at the position of attention. So good military bearings necessary for good leadership. And when marching, the leader must be in step with the formation at all times, so that you can be in step with them to call commands on the correct foot. And I know multiple times you were always checking, your guide on bear, especially in the beginning of the week, or just checking the flight or listening to, commands called if you're going to give a command. So normally how it works, okay, I'll just go over that later. All right. Okay. So you want to be in step with them so you can know when the step is being called. So when the unit is in a rest position, present arms, or executing other positions other than the position of attention, leader returns the attention to give the next command. So you're always giving commands at the position of attention. So it'd be like, for that thing with present arms, it'd be present, and then lift up, then lift it up. So overhead, present, and then lift it up, quite very sure. Gonna look that up, as I said. Right. And yeah, when teaching drill, leader need not execute commands with the flight if it detracts from his instruction. So yeah, when they're just we have our flight here, and they don't. And normally, when you just practice a bunch of things, you don't have your guide on bear, because having them figure themselves out is its own thing, which you'll deal with later on. But otherwise, you don't have to stand with them or anything like that. You just kind of be near them. March with them roughly, but don't have to be in a specific position, or like Navy drill where you're supposed to be, if you're facing this way, you're supposed to be right in the middle over here. Some weird, annoying thing that I didn't like. Yeah, so generally when facing away from the unit, leader gives commands over his or her right shoulder, as I said. When part of a large movement begins to the left of the unit, such as column files from the left forward march. So if, say, you're up in front of the flight, facing away, you would turn your head to the left. And that is also a thing in column the files, which I have nicely highlighted and been used a lot, as you can see by the stain. Yeah, it's specifically to the left if it's going to the left. But I'll go over that with you later, because that one's a fun one. And counter columns. On the left, heads turned to the left. When a flight command is posted in front of the first element leader in column formation, so therefore first element leader in column formation is the one on the left. Good to know. All right, I am just gonna make a little star over here for element numbers for later. Alrighty. When commander is in front of the column, given over the right shoulder. Yeah. When posted in front of the guide or element leaders during an inspection, the head is turned to the left. Huh. Interesting. I have to look into that one more. Right. Yeah. I already went over supplementary commands, kind of. Righty. And yeah, that's for the other, for the other flight commanders to deal with in our squadron, so you don't have to worry about that one. But I can go over that for them if they want. This is the rough draft. Yikes. I don't want to do this whole thing again. But here, that's what I got myself into. Yeah, so as you were, to revoke a preparatory command, so if you say column left, but then you meant to say column right, you can just say as you were and redo it. So if a command is improperly given, yeah. Oh yeah, but yeah. So if a command is improperly given, the individuals execute the movement to the best of their ability. So, if it's obvious from like the tone of voice of the person giving the command that they intend for this to happen, they're not, I didn't mean that or whatever. Just do your best to do it. So, if they do a column left and they call it on the right foot, or, as in the right as in left and right, just do your best with it for those, marching. And ideally, you will never mess up a left or right foot, etc. But, accidents do happen, and therefore you'll know what to yell at them about. Chisel. Give me commands, flight commanders may add letter. Yeah, but probably won't have to worry about that too much. If they're all around, but generally people are used to your voice, etc. So preparatory command, the commander execution are given the heel of the foot corresponding to the direction of movement sides to ground, left and right. In commands containing 2 or more words, place the point of emphasis on the last word. For example, right flank, hurch, give the command flank as the right foot hits the ground, because it's on the right, it's to the right. It's a right over a left thing. And yeah, I didn't know this until I read this just before. As I was saying, I was reading and highlighting extra stuff I hadn't highlighted before. Alrighty. The command voice. This is a really important one. And I said something earlier about asking you to look at it. So yeah, ideally that can happen. Or people at your squadron, they can help you to, learn how to do the command voice correctly. But reading this and getting input from them will help you. And I really, as said, want you to do that, because I don't want to have to deal with, you losing your voice, because that'd be bad. And otherwise, it just sounds less professional, they can't hear you, etc. So, thing to working is the diaphragm. So, muscle that separates the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity, and controls your breathing. So, deep breathing exercise to develop them and refresh the entire body. Flying exercise will develop improved breathing techniques when giving commands. So, take a deep breath through the mouth and hold the air in the lungs, and then with relaxed throat muscles, say huh, and so huh, ha, in as short a time as possible. Huh, ha, that type of deal. So make the sounds entirely by expelling short puffs of air from the lungs. So not a huh or a ha, but huh, ha, and using only the diaphragm and muscles around the waist. And when you do this properly, you can feel a distinct movement of the abdominal muscles. So that'll, feel that, oh, that's what the diaphragm feels like. That's where it is in my body. And, if you practice this decently enough, and like ideally you can do it, closer to the daily, especially if you haven't worked much on your command voice before now. I have plenty of times. I'll be doing this as well, because I remember going the first few events and first few days of events over the summer, being like, oh, I feel kind of rusty. I should get myself back in order. For drill, that's right. So projection, the ability of your voice to reach whatever distance desired without undue strain. So project your voice, focus your voice on the person farthest away. So you don't need to do a full-on perfect, loud as all get out command voice when the flight is just in front of you. I want you to use the command voice, but you don't need to be projecting as much as you would otherwise. So it should still sound like hut, tension, hut, but you don't need to be doing a much louder flight tension, which, I'm not going to do because, video and whatnot. Alrighty. So yeah, and here's another exercise for it. So you bring your hands up and then bring them down like so, pushing out air like so in that previously. Exercise. So yeah, distinctness depends on the correct use of the tongue, lips, and teeth to form separate sounds of a word, and group those sounds to force words. Yeah, distinct commands are effective, instinct commands cause confusion. So that's less than ideal. So inflection, change in pitch of the voice, pronounce the preparatory command, the command that announces the movement with a rising inflection near the end of its completion. So, height. So you have it kind of go up, and then when it's beginning the preparatory command, the most desirable pitch of voice is near the level of natural speaking voice. So, height, roughly. Common follows the preparatory command so high that after, so it's height, height. Like you hear, like that doesn't sound right, and it, they couldn't hear it. Passage to a higher pitch. Command of execution is impossible without undue strain. Probably deferred command of execution has no inflection. However, it should be given a higher pitch than the preparatory command. And there's a graphic back here somewhere. Yeah, so the sound is similar to, I'll show it. Ready, get, set, go. So, hey, ho, whatever that one is, present, humps. So it's present, humps. And then they have it ready, set, go. Or, just ready, set. Yeah, that idea. Yeah, flight, attention, hut. Or squadron, flight, halt. Right flank, hutch. Right step, hutch. And then cadence is just counted 2, 3, or 2, 3, or. And so I've heard it other ways, but here it just has it right at a single pitch. So maybe it is indeed that they want it to be right in the middle of the, not the ha or ha, but 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, kind of like, you're just speaking it, but with command voice. Yeah, I've heard people do a really higher 2, 3, 4. That's all right. But yeah, worry about that later. Pitch, cadence. Alrighty. Yeah, command of execution depends on higher pitch pitch than preparatory command. Leaders should take care of preparatory command of the registers, not squeaking. Yep. Just know that the flight is when used before tench hut or attention is set at a higher pitch than tench. So yeah, flight as it was done in here. So height, tench, hut goes slightly down. Where was that thing? 'Cause it works right now perfect. Yeah, so attention. So attention, you don't call the command flight attention, it's pronounced tench hut with, snap and all that good stuff of command voice, the loudness and goodness that makes it sound like so. So yeah, with tench acting as sort of unofficial preparatory command, and hut being the actual command of execution. This avoids the A sound at the beginning, which may damage the vocal cords from trying to protect. By saying hut instead of shun, the leader avoids the longer hissing sounds that lacks proper snap for a command of execution. Because attention, just hut, or tench hut, tench shun, hut, just shun, tension, tench hut. It's much doable. Yeah, with pronounce proper burst of air for the diaphragm, hut becomes also a cough, and everyone knows exactly when to move. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Snap, yeah, extra quality of command that demands immediate response. It expresses confidence and decisiveness. Yeah, confidence. Big important thing. It indicates complete control of yourself in any situation. To achieve this quality, you must have knowledge of commands and the ability to voice them effectively. Give the command of execution at the price instant the heel of the proper strikes the ground when marching. Achieve snapping, giving commands by staying erect, breathing with effort, and speaking clearly. Harch. The command of execution. March is always pronounced harch in order to allow the leader to project their voice without damaging vocal cords. Yeah, same type of explanation. Arms is pronounced H sound, like present arms, it's present arms instead of arms, so, don't kill yourself, kill your voice, I mean. Yeah, attention, and then halt, step, so, halt with the W, halt, yep, and then step has like a little H sound in the middle, so, route step, like it's just said that way. It's not just route step, it's route step, like so. Yep. Oh yeah, so in military drill, each command has a specific number of syllables, a certain cadence, and certain vowels. The combination of these three aspects makes each command sound completely different, even in less than optimum conditions. So when an airman cannot hear the command clearly for whatever reason, because towards the end of the week, voices aren't going to be ideal. They can often guess the right command because of its distinct rhythm. So theoretically, a leader could mumble the commands, and the airman would be able to figure out what they wanted anyway. So cadence is the measure or beat of a movement, and command is much, rhythm of the commands. So the cadence of the unit. So interval that produces the best effect in a movement is the one that allows one step between the preparatory command and the command of execution. So then when marching, give commands for executing movements to the right. When commands to the right, like a column right. When the right foot strikes again, give commands executing to the left. Yep. Two or more words, place the point of emphasis on the last word. Right. Thing from earlier. Example. We understand that. For a squadron or a large unit, the interval between the squadron and group of commanders, preparatory command, and the execution belonging after another marching. Almost like 3 steps. Oh, yeah. For squadron commanders, in between the preparatory command and command of execution, should be able to take 3 steps, not any more or less. And counting cadence. So the first few days, I think I put this in the Jody's thing or something like that. Instructor counts cadence to keep a unit in step. Cadets get out of step. Instructor corrects them individually, so just calls them out. Cadet Jones, get in step, or cadet, whatever. Counts cadence or halts the unit and then moves them off in step, which we're not going to do. Counting cadence helps teach coordination and rhythm. Cadence is given in sets of 2 as follows. in step 2 as follows: do, re, or, without singing or altering tone. So at the same tone as was talked about earlier with the, being in the middle. Help keep in step, unit members should keep their heads up and watch the head and shoulders of the person directly in front of them. Because, you can kind of see when they're moving left and right because their shoulders kind of move. And you can also, at your peripheral vision, see their legs kind of, which is just helpful. So you can stay in step. And their arm movements, assuming they're doing them correctly. When units are untrained and experienced, cadence counting should be clear and simple. So, the first few days, more experienced units are able to stay in step without constant reminder. And then leaders should encourage the use of marching songs or jodies. Explained earlier. So command for the element to count cadence is count cadence count. Left on the left foot. That one, I don't really care too much about that. Count cadence movement right step. Oh yeah. So with counting cadence to the right step, the right step hirch or right step hirch or left step hirch. It's the count of 1 is given on the right foot because the right foot is moved first. Yeah. Interesting. Alrighty, and that's that. So this is a lot longer than I intended.